And welcome to Coffee Time with Coach Ja. I'm your host, Coach Ja, in the building. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. The sun is up and it's shining. God or the creator energy, whatever you believe in, the ancestors, they are here. They are present. They are talking to us in this moment. I feel really good. I hope that you all are having a good morning so far. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab whatever morning ritual you have. Let that take place in this moment. Let's just be happy and be great. Today is fantastic already. I have some amazing news to share with you all that I will share in due time, just not yet. But it's beautiful outside. Yesterday was like gray, and today the sun is shining bright. If you notice, I don't have the light on in here because I don't need the light. The sun is giving me everything I need. This vitamin D is coming through the window. Strange, good morning to you. And yeah, man. So we in here and it's going down. Thank y'all for coming in. I'm about to bring your guest on in 1 second. I had to do my checklist. Make sure I holler at everybody. I hope you did some writing today. If you are right, I hope you did some writing today. Well, yesterday, and I hope that you were planning to do some writing today. I got some announcements that are going to come up. I'm going to my space today and have the meeting, an official meeting today, and it's going to be really, really great. But anyway, man, it's not about me. Y'all know it's not about me. When I have a guest here to come and talk to you, it's always about the guest. So I want to introduce to some of you for the very first time. You may have not met this brother, but I met him. He's a wonderful spirit. I met him through this poetry world that we live in, and he's super dope. Y'all give it up for my man, Mr. Eddie Vega. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Man, it's going good. It's good to see your face, get your energy, feel your vibe, man. How you been?
Been doing all right. Been all right. You know, we're only 6 days in this new year, so far so good.
So far, so good. You know, the new year could not have been a new year. Somebody didn't have a new year, right?
That's right.
So we gotta live in that. So before we get started, I'll let all my guests introduce themselves, tell the people who you are, tell them where you're from, tell them what you do, hobbies, anything you want to share with them. But let the people that are here know who you are.
Sure. Eddie Vega. I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley of deep South Texas, born along the border, but I live in San Antonio, which is about 4 hours north of there. And I'm a teacher. I'm a writer. I'm a poet, spoken word artist. I've got a book out called Chicharra Chorus through Flower Song Press that came out in 2019. I'm working on another one for this year. I have a working title, but I'm not sure if I want to get to that working title quite yet. And but I'm putting that on the universe, and it's going to come out this year. Yeah. So that's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So what was the name of your book? And can you say it?
It's Chicharra Chorus, and chicharra is the Spanish word for cicada.
Oh wow! Okay. And what do you teach? And what grade level do you teach?
I teach seniors, and I teach history. I teach in an all Catholic. I'm sorry, an all girls Catholic high school.
Oh wow! Yeah, and you teach history. So is that like world history or religious?
Well, I teach church history or Christian history.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's right. Interesting. So are you a man of the cloth? Are you?
No. I just have a degree in something that I really can't use anywhere else.
Oh wow. So how did that happen? How did you decide to get that degree?
I was I went to Catholic University. I went to St. Mary's University here in San Antonio. I was studying political science. And then I had this class in theology, and it looked really interesting. And I'll be to be real honest, I kind of remember those days. It was before that, but one of my favorite movies is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's what theology was. It was the closest we could get to archaeology in my school. So that's really why I started it, this program. And then I ended up liking a lot of the courses, and I ended up doing missionary work, rural development in southern Mexico, working with farmers to help them these indigenous people that were farming out there, helping them to help themselves. So it became like an emphasis in social justice, and that's really where my expertise is now. I guess is what I like to teach is social justice. So anyway, that's how that happened. And then, I've always been a writer, and a lot of my poetry does deal with issues of social justice. So I infused that into poetry. There's some stuff that goes back and forth, between the degree and the work.
So did you just decide I'm going to teach, or did something happen? It's like, well, maybe I'll roll into this.
Well, it's a funny story because like my dad's a teacher, and or he was a teacher, and he's not anymore. He taught for 6 or 7 years after his schooling. His sister was a teacher. His brother is he has a PhD and a doctorate of education, and he is the head or the assistant something or other for the state of Tamaulipas in Mexico in the education department. He's got a history of teaching. I didn't want to do any of that, of course. And when I was doing my missionary work, when I got there, I got to this place, and I'm like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, I'm just here to help people. That's all I want to do.
Right.
And I was coming down the stairs on my third day there, and the director of our community says, "Oh, Father Mario teaches a class next door at our school." They had a school that was a trade school. They taught refrigeration and welding and carpentry, but they had one class that wasn't any of those. It was called human relations. And they said, yeah, Father Mario left on sabbatical, and they needed a teacher there to teach the human relations class. I told them you would do it. And I'm like, okay. And when is this class? He says, it starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. This is like at 5 p.m., by the way. It starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. and there's 2 sections.
Oh, wow.
So I had to figure out things pretty quickly. And that's pretty much how I became a teacher, because like somebody told me I should, or I had to, rather, that I had to do it.
Yeah.
And then, eventually I left there and I started, I was doing some other stuff, and the job that was available for me when I wanted to go, I ended up in California helping out migrant kids to diversify this one school there. And if I wanted to do those things, like help kids to have community service and help diversify the school, I had to teach half time. Oh, wow. So I ended up teaching like another 3 classes. And then from there, I ended up teaching full time.
Wow. Talk about pressure, right?
Oh, yeah.
The families are all into education. You're like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then thrown on your lap, it's like, here, eat this loaf of bread. That is funny. And so when you were younger, right? Because you've always been a writer. What did you like or enjoy writing when you were young? Was it still poetry, or you like writing?
I think, when I say younger, I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I didn't have an allowance. So I was writing stuff to my mom for Mother's Day or her birthday. And it was just like, I love you, Mom. And, kind of things. So that was and so those were poems,
Yeah.
And I think through high school I was writing some poems too, but they weren't much. They were kind of like lovesick. You know how it is. Those first couple of things is because like you really like somebody, so you want to write something about them. But yeah, I think I did try to be a novelist at some point, but to be real honest, I don't have the sticking power for a novel to write all that much stuff, man. Give me like 2 or 3 minutes at a time. And that's what's a lot. That's more my style,
I always said that I was going to put my life into a book, right? I always said, listen, I don't care. I'm going to write this book about me. I'm going to tell everybody my story. And I never got past making the title page. And I think with when you become a novelist, or somebody who writes, books that are telling stories, there has to be something that you really want to do. That's not like, like you can't become, I'm just going to be a doctor for 3 years. There's no such thing. It has to be something that you really want to do. And I think when you're writing books like that, because poetry comes, right? Poetry, you live it. I can write a poem today and call myself not writing for 3 weeks, and then something's burning and it comes back out, right? I can write all day long and just be like, man, I'm done with today. And then an idea comes and I'm right back on it. It just lives through you. But I think when it comes to writing books, man, like you have to really have the desire. That's a lot of wording. I want to put those words, those chapters in 3 minutes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's some things that you could do out there. I've heard of I've got this buddy that does novels in verse.
Mm.
You know, and he says this guy's name is David Bowles, and he's a professor at University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. But he's written young adult books in verse, and he says that if you write, I don't think that we're in it for the money, right?
Right.
But he says if you do want to earn some money, you write a young adult novel in verse about what it's like to be growing up in whatever situation you're in. He said that one will sell to all the schools, and you can make some money off that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
It does. But, like what you were saying, if you really got to have the drive. And when I started learning about what it is to write a novel, like you have to like outline that thing and have an arc to it and develop characters, and that's a lot of work. No, I'm sticking to my poems, which they are good work too.
Oh yeah,
but it's kind of work that we can like appreciate like a little bit more, a little quicker.
Yeah. Also, when I think of poetry, right, I think about when you put the icing on the cake. So the cake is done. Everything, all the ingredients are there, and at this point now, you're just trying to either pretty it up a bit, or you're trying to put that final glazing on it. And so you have everything already there. It's just a matter of how you're layering it down. You put in 2-layer cakes, you put some cream in the middle, some frosting on top. You got to hit the sides perfectly. That's how I see when you're doing, because it's there already. You don't have to create it. You don't have to bake it. It's already there. The cake is done. All you have to do is decide how pretty you want it to be. And some of them cakes aren't so pretty, but I mean, that's just how I see it. You dig deep, don't get me wrong, but you're digging deep into something that's already there. You know what I mean? And I think with like, and granted, like when people take poems and they compare, D Dove, right?
Yeah.
I always reference D Dove because D Dove has this poem about comparing spiders to black men walking.
I've seen it, yeah.
Man, it's when you do that's a different kind of working on the cake, because you're still kind of adding extra ingredients within the cake, and you're trying to take a strawberry cake and put it with a lemon cake that might not work, but you find a way to make it mesh. And that's the beauty in what we do, because we can do it in a short span of time.
Sure. Yeah.
I bet you this, though. I bet you they made you, well, maybe not even made you read a lot, but I bet you read a lot when you were young. With all those teachers around.
They did. They made me read a lot, and read out loud. Like I was telling somebody the other day, that when I was growing up, every time we had a school play, I was a narrator.
Wow!
Like they made me narrator, and I don't know. I don't think that I have the greatest. Maybe I had a really much nicer voice back then, because I tried to do some voiceover work and I auditioned. I didn't get it, so I don't know if it's translated to today. But yeah, and then as far as the reading goes, yeah, they made me read, and I read a lot of books growing up, a lot of nonfiction.
Really?
I didn't have the imagination yet, I think.
Right.
So I read. I mean, this is gonna sound really nerdy, but I read the encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, that's all. Yeah.
I mean, when I say I read the encyclopedia, we had this young students encyclopedias. Each volume is about this thin. I read the whole thing, the whole set. By the time I got to, I don't know, 5th grade or so.
I think the people who read the most avid readers become the best writers, and I say that because they develop this level of transforming words into ideas and into dreams, and then you can begin to see some things that you might not have saw. In actually reading something. So if I'm reading a book, and the book might be about, how to plant raspberry seeds, but I'm actually telling you about the process of getting the soil ready and what kind of nutrients is in the soil, and then the process of planting the seed and how the roots bust through the seeds through that little hard shell. When I start talking about it like that and comparing it to an embryo and a human, you know what I mean? Like people who read, they automatically, instantly have that. Now, some people naturally have it, but I think people who read more, they just naturally get that gift, man. And I used to read much more when I was younger, My mom made us read, but I read real deal books about, about religion, about social justice, and I grew up in a household. Well, we spoke Malcolm X all day long. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things, and so it was different for me with the reading that I did. But I remember reading books at 8 years old and be like, I wonder what this word means. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I know you could tell like people who are early readers and read a lot because their pronunciation isn't there because they're for example, I grew up reading stuff and I would see this word heredity or heredity. What is heredity? And it wasn't until I was way older that I was like, oh, that's heredity.
Wow.
Because I never heard it, I'd always read it.
Yeah.
All those Greek mythology, like I thought I was Persephone.
Right.
And then here you finally see a movie and you're like, it's Persephone. You're like, what?
What is that?
And hopefully you don't embarrass yourself somewhere, So I try, with my students, I try to tell them like secretly and to the side. I'm like, hey, that's actually Persephone, or whatever it is. But yeah.
Let me ask you this: like, what movies do you enjoy? You like watching movies?
Oh yeah.
What kind of movies you like watching?
Gosh, I like a good romantic comedy every once in a while.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I don't say I've always. I liked it when I was younger. Then I got divorced, and then I didn't watch it for like 10 years. I couldn't do it.
Understood.
Yeah. I'll enjoy a good action movie here and there. Period pieces, something about history. When you go back, and I like a good story. My favorite movie is Forrest Gump, and I'm remembering that because I just saw it this weekend. It came on TV, and I was like, my kids are here. I'm like, we're watching Forrest Gump. And they're like, we've seen this movie like 20 times. It's a good movie.
You know what movie I like? I don't know if you watched it. Kate and Leopold. You ever watched that?
Yeah. Is that the one with Meg Ryan and the horse, the prince or whatever?
Yeah. Meg Ryan and what's the guy's name? I watched that and write poems after that.
Oh yeah.
Because what I've learned with language will bring you an idea if you're a writer. Mm-hmm. And the way he speaks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way he speaks that gives me, I'm like, I want to write a poem now. So that used to really motivate me with that.
Yeah, there's something about the way that you hear things, the way that you hear words, where they come from somebody else, Right. I read a lot. C.S. Lewis is one of my favorite authors when I was growing up.
Okay.
He wrote the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay. Like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and etc. And I read a lot of English or British writing, and I always liked the way that it sounded, and I didn't realize that those words were different, so this is another one of those funny things about growing up and reading all this stuff, and in that kind of English from, I guess it's like 60s English, 60s British English, or even before that, the word queer just meant weird, So I remember using that like in a sentence in high school where everybody turns around because I didn't know. That's a very sheltered lifestyle. And I use this word queer, and everyone's looking at me like, you're not supposed to say that word, or you don't know what that really means, do you? Kind of thing. But yeah, the words, I love looking at words, looking at different meanings of words. I love etymology. Mm-hmm. There's an NPR program called Away with Words that we catch every here in San Antonio. We catch that on Sundays in the morning. My favorite show because it's all about words and where they come from and where your phrases come from and stuff like that. And it's I just love the way I love words. That's what I'm basically doing. When I'm writing my poetry, I'm playing with words.
That's the best part about poetry. I think that wordplay gets to be something amazing. So Miss Betty asked us, what movie on a book do either of us like?
You go first because I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Miss Betty. I recently liked, I don't know if this was based on a book, but The Butler. I know it's based on a true story, but I think that was a book. I really liked that. I did not like. A lot of people ask about Malcolm X. I did not like Malcolm X because it was a lot of untruths and unbalanced truths that was in that. But I don't know. Like I get really. Now Da Vinci Code, I like that was based off a book. I did like that. I did like the way that jumped around. But for me, I don't know. It's different because the books always have everything and the movie doesn't.
Right.
And so it kind of like, well, we're going to use this part because it looks good, but we're not going to use this part because it gives too much information. That's the kind of how I hang up with it.
So many movies are based on books too. I mean, you can't really like escape them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've read some books after I saw the movie and then got disappointed with the movie. But some of them, for example, these are from when I was younger, The Hunt for Red October, I think is a better movie than it is a book.
Yeah.
And there's very few movies you can say it about. Da Vinci Code, I remember that one. That one was pretty cool as a movie.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to move as fast as a novel did for whatever reason. But that was a cool one. I've read The Godfather and I saw the movie several times. Just saw part of it this weekend. That one is another one where maybe the movie's like it got it better in some ways. But you pick up, what's cool is if you read the book, you pick up on some things that are kind of like mentioned in the movie, but you don't notice them as much.
Yeah.
There's another one. Harry Potter. I read all the Harry Potters like several times.
I have not read Harry Potter.
Yeah, I got into those books and I reread them, and the movies actually do them justice. But you will figure out like some little inside jokes in the movie after having read the books. You know what they were referring to.
Gotcha.
So it kind of complements it, I guess. I see these Nicholas Sparks, Golden Compass, Kiss the Girls, some Mr. Witz, but I'll be real honest. I'm sorry, Mariana. I'm not a big fan of Nicholas Sparks. I saw the movie. The movie was all right, but I tried to read that book, and I don't know. I couldn't finish it. Honestly, it just was not appealing to me. Apologies.
Shout out to everybody on IG. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm with my buddy Eddie Vega, man. Amazing guy. So we just talk about some things. You know how we do here. We're just talking about whatever it is. So thank y'all for tuning in. I'm sorry I cannot read y'all the comments and all, but I'm just trying to give my guest his time to do what he naturally does, man. Amazing time. So I need to read some more stuff, but I need to find some stuff because I'm a reader. Like, I'm not going to read something because somebody else enjoyed it. It's got to spark something and make me want to read it. Like, people are like, oh, this was a really good book. And I'm like, but the name didn't give me yet. Like, it didn't, you know what I mean? I don't even know the author. Like, I'm that kind of, I'm real extra with my stuff. So it has to be something that says, okay, read this. And then I'll say, okay, I'll check it out. And it has to, so unlike movies or series, right? They can have a slow start and lead up to, you know what I mean? With a book, it has to grab me almost instant. It has to be written in a way that I want to continue reading. And if not, I'm probably not going to get through it. And I don't know if that's the same for you, but that's
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Have you ever read a book called Shadow of the Wind?
No.
All right. This is one you might like. Pick this one up. Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, Zafon. And this isn't a spoiler because this is just like the first 10 pages of this book. Is this boy is taken by his dad. They own a bookstore in Barcelona.
Okay.
And there apparently is an underground library that only the booksellers know about.
Whoa.
The secret library. And he gets in it, and when you kind of get like baptized into being able to go into this library at a certain age, and he goes in there and he picks a book, and he's supposed to take care of that book for the rest of his life, but not just like the physical book. We mean like that story, that author, like is his responsibility.
Wow.
So he goes off into investigating about everything about this author, and it's a mystery. It's kind of gothic, a novel, but it's a really, really cool story. And I think I've read it twice because it was that good.
I got it written down. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, Shadow of the Wind, and it's part of. I think there's like 3 of them. That's like the first book. There's 2 others that have come out after that. One's like a prequel.
Okay.
But yeah, it's called but it's Shadow of the Wind.
Of the Wind. Okay, I got it in there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you a question, which I probably already know the answer. Game of Thrones.
Oh man, I'm poor, and I don't have HBO.
Me either. I just bought the DVDs.
Oh, okay.
I
think I got the DVDs, and I saw the first 3, and then it was time to switch the DVD, and I didn't. So I know that I would like it, and now I think my girlfriend's got HBO Max, so I think we might hit that at some point.
Listen, Eddie, I will send you my DVDs. I want you listen to me. So I'm not going to spoil it for you because you didn't watch it. Game of Thrones has been so everybody who knows me knows that I love Sanford and Son. And so with the Fire Stick, certain IPTV channel stations, you can actually watch certain shows 24 hours. And so before they knocked the last one off that we have, before we got the new one that doesn't have the 24-hour thing, which I really hate, I used to go either Sanford and Son 24-hour or Game of Thrones 24-hour. Now, mind you, it had all the good stuff, Happy Days and all the old, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jefferson's, all the old sitcoms, all of those things were on there. All those old shows we watched, even MASH, which I never liked. And Moody Black argued me down. That's a good show. Moody Black. Have you ever been on Moody Black's open mic midday?
No.
He does midday open mic on IG Live every day, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And on Fridays we do the brackets. He changed it for Thursdays, but we used to do the brackets on Friday. Now the brackets just happen wherever the hell they happen. That's just what the shit is, right? But anyway, we went on there, and Moody Black argued me down about MASH, and I'm like, dude, I never freaking liked MASH. Hell no.
Now, what did you? I mean, when were you trying to watch MASH? I'm just curious.
Well, it used to come on when I was young.
Right.
And that when I wasn't watching it then, I was like, no. Coming on.
Exactly. I have the same problem. I think you and I are about the same age.
I'm 48 now.
Oh, okay. I'm 46.
Okay.
No, 45. I'm around there. Anyway. What year is it? No. Okay. Anyway. But MASH would come on, I think, right after the news for us, and that was time for bed. So I would hear that song, the beginning, see the helicopter come in, and then I'm like asleep. Yeah. And I couldn't, and you're right, it just seemed boring to me when I was growing up. And then like somewhere, maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I caught an episode. That show was genius and hilarious, man. It is really good. I think it's something that you appreciate as you get older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try it.
Try it out.
MASH came on, so it'll be. I'm gonna try to remember. I know it was. We watched What's Happening at some point. Then Happy Days. After Happy Days was usually like Give Me a Break, or Different Strokes, or
Facts of Life.
Or Facts of Life, right? And then before you know it, the next thing was coming on was The Odd Couple, and I think MASH was before The Odd Couple.
Okay.
So we were eating probably when MASH was coming on. I was in New York City. Was eating when MASH was on. I definitely wasn't watching it. And then after MASH was The Odd Couple or Laverne and Shirley, and then The Honeymooners, in which I was probably supposed to be in bed when The Honeymooners was on, but I was still sneaking and watching it anyway. But that's what it was. So MASH came on. It was it's time to eat. This show was on.
Yeah, we couldn't give it a chance. It was in a bad time slot or something. But yeah, I saw all those shows. Saw Good Times. Saw Jeffersons. All those on reruns. You know, we had WGN. It was one of our only channels back then. So saw all those shows on Happy Days, of course, on reruns. even the Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, those are some formative years, and you were talking about Sanford and Son, man. Every time I see an old pickup truck with something in the back, some junk in the back, like in my head, I'm like, dun, 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 you know, like it just like pops in my head. Every time my car squeaks, actually, I think that goes through my head.
Bro, that is my favorite of all sitcoms. That is my favorite, hands down. And like I said, I watched that 24-hour channel. I watched it either when I woke up in the morning. I put my I turn on either or if I'm downstairs or upstairs, it didn't matter. I put that Fire Stick on, and it's usually gonna be somebody's trying to call me. I don't know why. It's usually gonna be freaking Sanford and Son. But if it wasn't Sanford and Son, it was the Game of Thrones. And believe it or not, I will watch Game of Thrones and want to write poetry after watching Game of Thrones.
I believe you. I'm sure it's got some good themes in there.
Well, I always talked about controversial stuff and fighting and like, you know, and then like the word bastard was so uselessly used back then. And you'd be like, damn, like, you know, yeah, okay, he's a bastard. We know it, right? But they use that word like.
But was it literal? Was it like they actually were a bastard? They actually were an illegitimate? Yeah.
There's like you're a damn bastard and nobody likes you. And I was like, oh man, like wow. One of my favorite things, man. So what I like to do, I like to let my guests have time to talk about anything that they want to talk about. Anything you might be doing, anything you have coming up, anything in the world you want to speak about, news, whatever, and just give you some time to just be free to talk about what we never get to talk about in interviews.
Huh. Oh man, that's a pretty broad thing to talk about.
Yeah, see?
That's a lot of stuff, like, you know.
But take your time and just give us what you got. It's all good.
You mean like a rant kind of thing, or
whatever? Like, yeah, it's your time now. It's your time.
My time to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's just, you know, usually people know me as a taco poet, right? So I called myself that, and then like it became a thing, and I had a blog about tacos for a little bit.
Oh wow!
Here in town, kind of trying out different spots. We called it, and it was myself and a buddy, so it was We Taco Bout It is what we called it.
Wow.
And we reviewed some places. You know, you were down here for Southern Fried. I actually like posted one of a piece there so that all my Southern Fried friends could know where to get the best tacos in San Antonio, etc. So a lot of what I write is I end up writing about food, you know, and making analogies and whatnot. So that's something that I could probably talk about for a long time. I've ended up like doing some research, not just like going to restaurants, but I mean like actual research about this sort of thing.
Wow.
And then you also mentioned the news, and man, that election in Georgia last night.
I'm just seeing pieces of it today. I can't wait to really get into it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Gives a lot of hope. I don't know where you are on the political spectrum, but things have been so long in the South with a certain party.
Yes.
And to see that the other party is coming into the mix and actually, like, you know, making some wins.
Yeah.
I live in in Texas. I told my students, and they were surprised by this. I said, you know, my vote for president hasn't counted in any of my adult life.
Oh, wow.
Because I've always, you know, no, sorry. Yeah, it hasn't. Because even when Barack Obama won, he didn't win Texas. So my vote for him in Texas didn't count.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, my vote hasn't counted as far as like in presidential politics in since 1994 or something like that.
Wow.
And every year for the last maybe 10 or so, somebody comes over to Texas and says, "Oh, we're gonna turn Texas blue. We're gonna change things." And you just watch, right? And I compare it to like when they tell us it's gonna snow, because you know it never snows here. And every so often they'll say it's gonna snow, and you're like, it doesn't snow. But all night you're like looking out the window to see that it's gonna like you say it's not gonna happen, but you're still kind of like hoping.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of look out the window. You're like, oh, just in case, I want to be the first one to see these things come down. So that's the same thing when they tell us that Texas is going to turn blue. It's kind of like the snow forecast. Like you're like, nah, it's not going to happen. But you still stay up all night, like looking at results, hoping, and then it doesn't. You're disappointed again, This Georgia election gives me some more hope.
Yeah.
Because it does snow. Eventually, it does snow, right? And we shall see. We shall see. I hope things get, my community, my Latinx, my Chicano community. We don't vote for whatever reason. We try. I try to get my friends all to vote, and my friends all vote. They're all educated Latinos, so they go do it. But like if you look at others, they're not. And that would turn Texas blue right away.
Oh yeah.
But we're not doing that. And then something really funny happened this last election.
Mm-hmm.
The place where I'm from in Deep South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, which is like 95% Mexican American. Some of those counties started to go for Trump.
Wow.
And you're like, what are you doing to your people? Kind of thing. And I'm a little upset about that, but it's kind of because the Democrats have abandoned that spot and thought, oh, that's a sure thing. We don't have to worry about them,
Yeah.
Blues and emotion. So I think we all have those skies. That's true.
Let's go with it. I love my brother.
Yeah. Space partner. He and I were space partners once.
Really?
Yeah. It didn't work out that well because I thought I knew Spades.
You should have had him play dominoes. You would love him. My brother's a phenomenal dominoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know you play dominoes.
I played it before. I was married to a Puerto Rican, so her dad was like Mr. Dominoes guy. He might have actually like strayed me from playing dominoes because it was kind of intense, and I felt that wasn't good enough. So I might have to get back in it.
Oh man, I will say this. I want to say this. I'm looking forward to the day when the Latin community and the Black community really become the brothers and sisters that we are.
Yeah.
We need to. There's this invisible barrier there that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. You know what it does is because like white people pitted us against each other so that we wouldn't unite. They would they might say, hey, they're going to take your jobs.
Yeah,
each side of us.
I hate that.
Yeah,
I think that there's a shift happening. I will say this, and I want everybody to listen to me carefully. Trump is probably the worst, not just president or chairholder, if you would, person that's there, but some of his ideas on business for people who have money. I understand why people wanted that, right? On some business things that people that are behind it are telling him to do, those things make sense. And I know that's what persuaded a lot of people to vote for him because those business things. But it's kind of like, why would you put a monkey to drive in the car? Even though his hands can turn the wheel and he might have a direction, he doesn't know what the freak he's doing. And so you can't make a monkey drive a car because first of all, his feet ain't gonna hit the pedal. No. But you understand what I'm saying? So yeah. I understood. When you take a step back and you get out of your feelings and you say, why would somebody vote for this particular person? You'll understand that some of the stuff that was in business that had really nothing to do with Trump, people that were behind him, it was those things that a lot of people voted on. And so people who have money, people who have big ranches, people who have big properties and big business, those ideas that they had fit perfectly for them. And that's why a lot of people was like, okay, well, listen, I might not be super rich, but I'm comfortable and my level of comfort can go up higher if I keep this particular person here. And so I knew then why a lot of people who you're like, how could you vote for him? Why they voted for him? The problem with that is when the shit hit your forefront and it's at your doorstep, you might have a load of money behind you, but all that other stuff you got to deal with is not going to be good. And I think that's what's breaking down that barrier. I'm so delighted to hear how the Latin community has created themselves in the world of politics. Like the Latin community is like, no, we right here. We right here.
And we've been here, you know, you look at, like, for example, California's got their first ever Latinx senator,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at New Mexico has had like Hispanic senators since, like, I don't know, or representation, I should say,
Yeah.
from the very beginning, because that's all that was. That's, you know, they were out there,
Yeah.
and not say that they're not, you know, there are also some racism within the community. You know, there are Afro Latinos,
Mm-hmm.
darker skin Latinos who don't get the same recognition.
Yeah.
It's colorism. We call it colorism. You look at the novellas, you know, the soap operas in Latin America, and all the characters are blonde and blue eyed.
Wow.
That's what that's the ideal. That's what you want to look like. And the people that are watching them are, like, you know, dark skinned and brown eyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely some issues, and we're not like a monolith either. You know, that's the other thing. We don't all vote the same. You know, and there's really, it's kind of hard to talk about what we call like a Latinidad. You know, like one Latin or one Latinx community. The Cubans are different from the Puerto Ricans, different from the Mexicans, from the Dominicans,
Yeah. Yeah.
from the Nicaraguans and Guatemalans. We're all very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And we might make different choices about families and morality and ethics, and, well, maybe not those, but
Right.
different choices for sure about our politics.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then your generational things. You know, I know people here in San Antonio who have been here, whose their family can go back 5-6 generations, and they vote a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
different, and because they've managed to establish themselves, they've got, like you said, the business things, and then you compare that to people whose parents just came across, or they themselves just got here.
Yeah.
They're gonna have it's gonna be a little different for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. The poet who's on the radio down there,
Mm-hmm.
what's his name?
Poet on the radio.
I think it's a radio broadcasting show. He did when we did Southern Fried. He was hosting something.
Huh?
Oh God, I can't think of his name.
I can't either.
I know he's on the radio down there, but he's got the voice. His voice is super freaking dope. I'm like, I wish his radio station played here. I can't think of his name.
Man, I can't remember who that is. Is it Paul? Maybe he's kind of Paul.
Is it? No.
Anyway. He's got a web show. I know that.
Does he have a web show?
There's also a guy out of New Mexico, out of Albuquerque, named Damian Flores.
No.
And he's got like his own show with poetry.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. What I'll tell you what. So when we was in Southern Fried, I was so mad because everything closed down so freaking early. We couldn't get no good food. And so we cooked.
Wait, which one?
When was in San Antonio? I didn't
really?
know.
No, you didn't needed to ask, because as somebody who like is out a lot.
Yeah.
I know where you can go get stuff that's like late at night.
Man, we was eating hot dogs from the hot dog guy. We was driving back in.
No.
And then was eating that street meat. And then there was we were at the building right next to where Captain Kirk was performing at.
Okay.
We was that and
yeah. Well, yeah, that downtown area, everything closes down. Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's like some downtown adjacent spots that you got to get to. There's a food truck that I took New Jeru to. That they're just like, their minds were blown because this is the best taco truck in town. Wow. And it doesn't even open until 10 p.m.
How the hell do we not know? Oh my God, that's so disrespectful.
Yeah.
So
disrespectful. It was in the blog. I posted the blog. You had to have read it. It would have been in there.
I didn't read it. And so we when we came to San Antonio, so I think Lady V, I think that was the year her knee was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of the Lady V, Shane, Elaine, and even Lovely was there, and there was so much stuff going on with the Snapshot was there too. So much going on. The women were having a lot of energies pulling them in different directions, and it was just, I didn't know what the hell was going on. And next, it was time for a bout, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I missed everything but the Slam Masters meeting. It seemed like,
yeah.
So, well, I would like to come out. They went to they went on Shane. It was Shane, Ian, and Elaine. They went to I don't know. They went fucking just touring or whatever the case may be, and I don't think nobody was prepared to slam that after they got back. But it was
Fayetteville, I think for me was like that too, where I felt like everything was closed down and there was nowhere else to go. Like go grab a bite. We ended up at Taco Bell, and I'm not like a Taco Bell fan. And I was just remember this story the other day. When we showed up to the window and they said they had no beans.
huh?
You know, so yes, sir, we have no beans. I'm like, well, and so I had to turn around like, hey, they've got no beans. And they're like, yeah, I said, do you still want something? And like, yeah, can I get a 6-layer burrito? And they're like, we don't have a 6-layer burrito. I'm like, but you have a 7. They said we have a 7-layer burrito. Like, yeah, but you told me you don't have any beans, so it's obviously going to be a 7-layer burrito, a 6-layer burrito. And the guy's like, we don't have a 6-layer burrito. I'm like, okay, well, give me a 7-layer burrito. But am I getting beans in that? He's like, we have no beans. I'm like, okay, so it's a 6-layer burrito. You know. This went back and forth for a little while, and I don't think this guy was having any of it. He did not appreciate this whatsoever. Like when he gave me he just kind of like dropped the food like in my hands. You know,
Man.
Yeah, it was no humor sometimes, I guess.
I'm gonna tell you, I need you and my brother Witz to order food together. I think that was amazing. So my brother Witz, we're on the phone, right? I don't remember where he was getting food from, and he said, "Hold on for a minute, bro." He said, "Hello." He said, "Yes. Can I take your order? How can I help you?" He goes, "How about I tell you what I don't want?" I'm like, bro, like these people got some food, man. You can't talk to people like that. I'm like, yo, you never ordering food for me, bro. Never, man.
I'm usually really, really nice to people. I was out of my element. I was thrown off by, there might have been some substances involved, whatever. So that I was like, just fine off the cuff on this person. But, there's a cash slam. Word is right.
Yo, Prada, listen. So let me tell you, everybody who's on Eddie YouTube, Prada is super dope. She is super dope. Her energy is so great that I gotta have her doing some stuff. She's in New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So definitely connect with her if you're not connected with her. She is super dope. I'm definitely gonna try to make it to that slam. So I always got some shit going on. I'm never like still. I'm only still for coffee time with Coach Ja. Other than that, I'm moving about. But I'm gonna try to make it. Prada, send me the info, but I need you to like email it to me because I don't have Messenger on my phone. So people send me Facebook messages and I never freaking get them. I get them 2 and 3 days later. When I send a message, people don't respond to me within the 5 minutes that I'm on Facebook. 9 times out of 10, I don't know when I'm going to see it again. Because if I'm looking at it on my phone, I don't have Messenger. I don't want people freaking calling me through Facebook. Nah. Like, don't call me through Facebook unless I ask you. And then I'm probably going to tell you, just call me. That's a new poem coming.
We're all like that. Where in New Mexico are you, Marissa?
Yeah, Marissa, where you at in New Mexico? She's definitely in contact with her on Facebook too, because she's definitely on Facebook. And you got to come to Moody's open mic.
I'm gonna write that down. 2:00 every day.
Every Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
It starts. They usually do an earlier. What's today? Today is Wednesday, so today is Wet Words Wednesday. It's all erotic poems today. But yeah,
wet words.
But his yeah. So let me see. It's mental Mondays. To bring all your political poems. It's Testimony Tuesdays. Wet Words Wednesdays. Thursdays is short poems and haikus. And Friday is Feel Good Fridays. You just do whatever.
Man, that's really cool. It's like, I mean that you can do an open mic with each of those different topics. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in Albuquerque? That's great. It's one of my favorite towns to go do poetry in.
Oh wow,
Albuquerque. Favorite town to be, period. But like the poetry scenes.
I'm gonna send you because it's the Ain't Right Tribe is the page that it's on. So I'm gonna send that to you in your.
Yeah, Lady V posted that there.
Yeah. So go on there at 2:00 and get there early because if not, you won't be able to spit if you want to spit. You got to get there early and send you because it fills up fast.
You know what? And actually, so I teach normally, but Wednesdays I don't have class.
Oh wow. Listen, let you come on and do a poem that's not Wet Words Wednesday because it's your first time on the show. So go on there today.
Yeah, I might not do that one, but I do have. I have. I think every poet has at least one or two.
I have at least one.
Yeah. I might have one about tacos that I've done before.
Oh, I think I heard that one.
Yeah, but I actually have one. Somebody asked me once. I don't know if you know Glow Armor. Glow hosted the erotic open mic at Southern Fried when we were here.
Yeah.
Glow was going to be hosting our regular open mic, and she said, Eddie, she sent me a message. Eddie said, write me something sexy. So it was a few hours before, and I'm like, all right. And I thought about the sexiest thing that women, for women, what's the sexiest thing that women want that would appeals to women? So I wrote a whole poem about doing the dishes.
I love it.
So I've got that going, and it's of course there's a lot of innuendo about when you're doing the dishes. So maybe if it's Wednesday, maybe I can offer that. But the other thing is that when I am at school, we have a break at what's 1 p.m. for us, which would be 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. And maybe I can just go on the open mic when I'm at school and kind of like get me away from, kind of like take me away from my environment for a little bit. That'd be kind of cool.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, because I think Mike is gonna start today. As soon as Mike goes on, right, on Ain't Right Tribe, because everybody who's part of Ain't Right Tribes is the ones that originally we're usually hosting it, and so I'm gonna send him a message to let him know when you come on to make sure he bring you up.
Oh, now I have to do it then. Now
you're gonna have to do it. Now
I gotta put it in my phone so I have an alarm.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do it. Now. Y'all, listen, y'all better come over there and hear it, because it's gonna be crazy.
Dang! Oh no, I don't know. Okay. Because the other thing is I had to take a COVID test today.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, because it's a mandated like weekly test.
Got you.
That I do for my school, and I haven't done it at all, so I don't know how long it's going to take. So after we're done here, I'm going to have to get ready and go out down, to our testing site and see what that's like.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to make any promises, but I'm writing it down for future reference.
Got you. We'll hold your place regardless. That's We'll do a special one just to make sure you get in. I know it goes on for at least an hour, right? And sometimes 2 hours. But if people are still in the feed and we can get people in, I mean, we might still be there if you get back a little later. So just pop in and see what's up. So yeah. So I need to ask you this, because we only got a few more minutes left.
Sure.
I try to ask this when we have time. Seems like it's a good time to put it in. Tell me the top 5 people, dead or alive, that are most inspirational in your life.
Oh, dead or alive. Well, my dad, my dad taught me a lot of things, but the things that I used to be a poet, like the wordsmithing, my dad plays with words all day. He makes horrible jokes, horrible puns, and a lot of my best poems are when I've played with words. So I've got to give props to the man for that. He also is one of the worst procrastinators around. I picked that up too. I've influenced. There's a poet, a Mexican poet by the name of Amado Nervo.
Okay.
I read some of his stuff when I was in high school, and it still sticks with me. I just love the way he uses language.
Nice.
I was mentored by poet Carmen Tafoya. She was poet laureate of Texas for a little bit, but she was one of the first people to have a Mexican American studies program in higher education to like start those kind of programs, and she's definitely an influence. Her work, not just like her poetic work, and also her other work, And I've gotten to work with her. Like I got to do like a short play with her last year, 2 years ago. Which is kind of fun. Let me see. I mentioned earlier C.S. Lewis. I like his stuff, his writings. I don't know if I could call that an influence. And there was an influence there.
It's still influence, yeah.
Hemingway. When I was younger, I read a lot of Hemingway.
Did you?
Yeah. And then at some point I figured out, man, this guy doesn't do well with women. But we're complicated people, right? I mean, I think that you can people. I think we who are in our 40s have had these long, complicated trajectories, and we've come to some understandings that 20 years ago we just didn't get it.
No.
You know?
No.
And back when I wasn't getting it, in any way.
Wasn't getting it. You was getting it.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, we was there.
Whatever it was, yeah. He but yeah, there was something. He actually does some good stuff with language though, and very short, concise sentences. He just remember. I don't know if you've ever seen those takes on why the chicken crossed the road and different answers to that from different people.
Yeah.
They're like one of them's like from like William Shatner is like to boldly go where no chicken has gone before, right? And, Colonel Sanders is like, I forgot one, but the one for Hemingway was to die, period.
Oh wow.
Alone, period. Yeah.
Damn.
So that kind of real concise. He's the one that had the. Do you remember this about the 5 or 6 word story? Somebody challenged him to write a story in 10 words, and he did it in 6.
Wow.
And it was. Let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head. It's like baby shoes for sale, never used.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's like so much there, right?
There's a lot in that shit right there.
Yeah.
There's a lot in that.
So I think that I try to do that every so often. Maybe just try to be concise with my language, with my words, and have a good story.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Pablo Neruda. Yeah, that's an influence, man. I love Neruda. His work, not just like his love poems, but his other stuff too. He's got the whole Residence on Earth. I think is one of his books. I had a show for a little bit too, and we interviewed Ed Mabry on ours. And when we were talking about his influences, he also said that he read some Neruda, and that was one of his big influences too.
Wow.
So I like those guys.
Yeah.
And women, Carmen. But yeah, those were some of my influences. Those are the people that I would love to have dinner with and conversation with.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I have to mention also one of my other mentors is Jesse Cardona. Okay. He's a teacher I work with, but he's also a poet. And I think, just like I talked earlier about how I didn't want to be a teacher, but somebody told me I had to be a teacher. And I think that God put me in that place.
Absolutely.
So that I would know that,
Absolutely.
And about 10 years ago, I started working at the school I work at now in Cardinal Wood High School. And God put me in that place at our faculty. I was a community gathering and all the faculty were sitting together. And Jesse and I started talking and he says, "Are you a poet?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, I've written some stuff." And then 6 months later, he's like taking me in an open mic.
Wow.
And he's OG. He's like in his 70s, but he was around over here in the 60s and 70s in San Antonio in the 80s, right. and doing poetry around town. He's done a lot of. They hijacked a bus once, got up on the bus and started reading poems on the bus, just like making that their spot, their venue. Wow. They would do all sorts of really cool stuff around town. He was with a group of guys. They had city funding to do stuff. Mm-hmm. One guy like pissed off a city councilman with a poem.
Wow.
And then they lost their funding.
Oh, that's crazy.
So he's been through a lot of stuff and done a lot of great stuff. So I have to give props to Jesse. He's one of his poems. He writes a lot about food too, cultural stuff like pan dulce, sweet bread, and avocados. Which you're thinking like, so what? But they actually are about representation.
Got you. Well, listen, I hate to cut it short, but we got like 20 seconds left.
All right. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Listen, y'all follow Eddie Vega. I'm gonna put y'all in touch with him. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. My man got a show coming on right. William Brown got a show coming on right after us. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love you. I promise you, you can make today amazing. Just start by loving yourself today and show this world that you're worthy of love. I challenge you to be better today than you was yesterday. You have everything you need to be super fantastic. Go be super great. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. Peace and love.
Bye,
Eddie.
buddy.